What's up, everybody? It's Monday night, and it's movie time. And as you can see from the thumbnail, yes, we actually left the house and went to see Terrifier 3 in the theater yesterday.
It was all right.
This was a lot of fun. I actually think maybe that I liked this one best out of all the Terrifier movies, because I have seen them all.
Yeah, I've seen them all. I'm not really into this, but I can understand why. I mean, they are what they are. All right.
Yeah.
You don't need You don't need to be a fucking Rhodes scholar to follow this story. It's just a more highly evolved version of Friday the 13th or fucking Halloween. You got this indestructible killer who's got supernatural aspects, and it's just stories of people who've survived him, remember him, and he shows back up, and they go through a lot of the classic slasher tropes. Except this is like particularly over the top, graphic scenes of torture and murder, with kind of a fucking ludicrous comedy flair to it because he's a clown that's doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely got dark humor aspects to it. It's not as zany as something like Dead Alive or Evil Dead 2 or something like that, but it's just kind of like, it's definitely has a lot of black comedy in it. Because Phantom was pointing out earlier the scene when Art is in the bar with the guy dressed up as Santa Claus, and also with Clint Howard, who makes a cameo in this. There's a lot of kind of cool cameos in this, actually.
Yeah.
Clint Howard, Tom Savini, Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Jason Patrick from The Lost Boys, he plays Sienna's dad in the flashbacks. So I didn't actually recognize him until like later, and then I was like, oh yeah, okay.
We were coming out of it. There was some younger people in there were commenting to each other about it. We overheard what they were saying as we were walking out. And the girl was like, I don't think this is as good as the second one.
As the first two,
As the first two is what she said. But I was looking at it going, no, it's about like the other two.
I think, like I said, I liked this one.
I'm a neutral observer because, you know what I mean? But I think it's about, because I'm just kind of indifferent to it. To me, this is kind of generic. And it's not very scary to me. And it is fun, though. It was a fun watch.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's supposed to be scary, honestly.
Yeah.
But
I fell asleep during it, but Jen kept waking me up. Okay.
Well, I only woke you up that one time because you were snoring.
Yeah.
But you were like really tired in your
I was real tired.
Because we had been out. We went out Saturday night.
Yeah, I've fallen asleep in the parts where they're just talking.
Well, you know what, though? I'm going to say that, say what you will about the Terrifier movie. Like I said, I really like them. If you're in the mood for this, if you just want to see some like over-the-top gore, like this is one of the things that you should watch, you know what I mean?
Gore and cruelty.
Yeah. Because it is very cruel.
There's like a mindfuck element
But like I said, it has like a little bit of black humor to it, too. But it's not for everybody, obviously. Some people, even some horror fans don't really like that, and that's cool, you know what I mean? But I have to be in the mood for it. But honestly, these kind of movies, like over-the-top gore, it doesn't really bother me. Honestly, I think these movies, and it started with part 2. I liked part 2. My main criticism was that it was way too long. It was like 2 hours and 18 minutes or something like that. And slasher movie does not need to be that long, you know what I mean? It's not The English Patient, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And I thought some of the scenes sagged and stuff. This one is about 2 hours. This one did not sag for me, and there was a lot of character stuff in there, but I liked that because I liked that they built up.
They're building up lore too.
All the characters and the lore, and you actually cared about people when they got killed, generally. And spoiler alert, almost everybody gets fucking killed in this movie.
Yeah,
pretty much. And I have to say too, like the actress that plays Sienna, who was in the second one too, Lauren Levera, she's great. Yeah, she's a great actress, and
the acting's good in it.
Yeah, the acting is way better than it has any right to be. And like I said, a lot of the characters are very likable, and relatable and stuff. It's not like annoying slasher characters. Largely, there are a couple like that, but mostly they're pretty likable. And But the thing about it, and I actually didn't know this about Lauren Levera, but she is also a stunt woman. She's a stunt performer. So she does all her own stunts for these. And she's a martial artist and stuff too. But it's like, she's a great fucking actress. Like, especially like in the third act of this, where she's like fighting Art, like in the house. She did a great fucking job. Yeah. And I thought she was a great actress in the second one too. But this one is a lot better. I think it's a more streamlined, and I will say too that if you're kind of into the lore behind the Terrifier movies, about the demon and all that kind of stuff, They leave a lot of stuff. I mean, some stuff is explained, but some of it is kind of left mysterious.
Like it should.
But I think that that's probably the best. The only thing that I didn't know, I mean, I think practically I know why they did this. Toward the beginning of the movie, there's a thing where Art and Victoria, who is his new, that was the girl that got attacked in the first movie, and her face is all fucked up. And then the demon, like the little pale girl demon, took over Victoria's body. So Victoria is like his sidekick in this one, and she talks and stuff like a little bit. Now, he doesn't talk. So she's in it a lot, which I kind of liked that. You know,
I thought it was a good idea.
I thought it was a good idea.
There's 2 monsters in it.
So there's 2 monsters, and they're both like equally horrible. And like I said, she doesn't talk a lot, but she does talk some. So they had all that going on. So there's a scene at the very beginning where he just basically goes and just kills an entire family, children included, with an axe, like on a few days before Christmas. And then like him and Victoria go to the abandoned house or whatever, and then they like go into stasis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For 5 years.
Yeah, just sit there still.
Like she sits in this gross ass bathtub with Lord knows what in there, and just opens up her wrist like with a piece of glass and just sits there and like dies presumably. But like I said, she's a demon. Like she's inhabited by a demon rather. Yeah. And he just goes up to the attic and just sits in this rocking chair and just sits there for 5, and like there's cobwebs over him and stuff like that. And they don't get woken up again until these 2 guys, who are presumably there because they're going to tear the building down. And I guess so these 2 workers are like coming in there to check and make sure there's nobody in there or nobody squatting in there or whatever before they tear it down. And they kind of wake them up. And I think I was watching some other reviews of this, and like a lot of the other horror channels, like some of them were really digging it, but a lot of them were just kind of like, why did they sleep for 5 years though? And then some people were like, well, maybe they were waiting for Sienna to get out of the mental hospital.
No, I think you're reading too much into it. I think what it was is they were just trying to let you know that these are not humans. They don't have normal lives. They're more like ghosts. They're demons, basically. And when there's nothing to do, they can just shut down independently. They're immortal. They're not going to die.
True.
I mean, she slit her wrist trying to kill herself. I guess. She didn't die, though. They don't die. So I think they just wanted you to know that they just wanted to throw in a creepy aspect to them, is that like a ghost, they can just kind of go dormant.
Yeah, because they went dormant for like 5 years.
Yeah.
They're like in this house.
Now, it might have had something to do, like you said, explaining the age of the characters and what were they doing during that downtime, that kind of shit when she was in the hospital. That might have had something to do with it. But I was just under the impression that if they got into a place that was kind of peaceful and safe, they just shut off for a while until there was something to do.
Yeah.
That's
like, it didn't bother me that much, but I was just kind of like, I wonder why they did that. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder
just
why
a weird aspect.
Years.
You know, I wasn't really questioning anything that I was seeing about the movie. Like I said, it's a simple story. It's doing pretty much the same thing. Halloween and Friday the 13th and Phantasm. Evil Dead, where it's trying to build a whole world with characters and shit happen to them. Now, here's the good thing about it. I saw the first 2 movies and didn't remember a thing about them. Nothing. I don't remember anything about them.
Well, you remember the woman being sliced in half in the first one.
Yeah, right? I remember like some of the scenes, the murder scenes, but I don't remember the stories behind it. Well, this girl that's kind of starring in this, she was in the second one.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to realize they remind you in the movie that she was in the second one.
Yeah.
And that she did some shit in that one too. And what I'm saying is the movie still held together, even though I didn't remember anything from first and second. So you could just watch 3. You don't have to see 1 and 2. You could watch 3 and still enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they give you enough context clues that you would be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
I think it's better if you see at least the second one, because I kind of feel like the first one, I think they did introduce some of the lore, but I thought, and please forgive me because it's been a long time since I saw the first Terrifier, and Phantom brought up All Hallows Eve too, which I kind of want to address too, because that was where Art the Clown was introduced. That movie wasn't about him, but he was like it was an anthology, and he was like in the wraparound, and I guess that character was so popular they wanted to Damien Leone wanted to keep on making movies with that character. So I kind of feel like I think that Art started out as just a regular ass serial killer, and then when he met that little girl that kind of looked like him. You know what I mean? The freaky one, like in the laundromat or whatever. And they pretty much clue the audience in that she's supernatural because he's talking to her or interacting with her and, like, other people can't see her.
Yeah.
Like, so only he can see her. So then it's established later that she's actually, like, a demon and she can inhabit other bodies, right? So I think after, because didn't Art, I know he died at the end of 2, spoiler alert, because Sienna cut his head off. But I thought he died at the end of the first one too, but then he came back because the demon brought him back.
I don't remember.
See, it's been a while since I saw the first Terrifier. So it's like, so I thought he died at the end of that one too, but he definitely died at the end of the second one. And then, but they kind of, at the end of the second one, you have Victoria giving birth to his head, which actually kind of plays into this one too, which is a hilarious fucking scene because Art, his headless body gets up and, like, kills a cop, and then he takes that cop's head and puts it on and kind of has to hold it there because it won't stay, you know what I mean? And while he takes the subway to the mental hospital where Victoria is, where his head is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, like, hilarious. There's, like, this homeless woman, like, on the train, like, looking at him going, what the fuck is he with this dead dude's head?
Yeah.
Like, on the fucking... I was just laughing my ass off. It's just kind of like... It's kind of fucked up to say that I love, but all the gore scenes in this just made me just laugh delightedly. Because like I said before, like CB was saying, oh, I wonder if we felt sick watching. Not at all. Gore does not bother me in the slightest. And the practical effects in this are so good that you're just kind of like, wow, like that looks really good. Like that looks really fucked up.
Yeah, I've seen so much of it, you know what I mean? I know it's practical effects. I say, yeah, that's pretty good practical effects. It doesn't have the same effect on me as it would have when I was a kid. Like, you know, like, oh, I see the gag. I know how they're doing that. You know what I mean?
I mean, I just admire the artistry of it because it looks so fucked up and good.
Yeah. They're just trying to tell a story and entertain you, which I think they did.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. Like, I feel like this is gorier, or there's more gore scenes in this than there were in the second one. But that scene in the scene in the second one that everybody talks about, where he, like, tortures that, I can't remember what that character's name was, Annie, or I don't remember what her name was, but where he just, like, tortures her and cuts her up, and it takes, like, a long time, like, it's super prolonged. Like, that was the scene everybody talked about because it was, like, super fucked up. I don't know if there's anything quite as gory as that, but there's more of it. And they're more creative. Yeah. I kind of feel like the gore in this is a lot more creative. Like, for example, like one of the dudes that goes to, like, one of the workers that is going in the abandoned house and, like, wakes them up. Basically, like, Art takes his box cutter and cuts the top of his head like that, and just basically, like, pulls his skin off, like, down
the middle.
Yeah, I was watching, like, I think it was what's his face, Cody Leach or whatever, and he said it's like degloving, but it's not degloving because it's not your hand. So I was like, dehatting? I don't know what you would call it. Just, like, taking all the skin, like, just peeling it fucking orange, and it looked really, really good. So that was great. My favorite kill, particularly, there's a lot of good ones in this. My favorite kill was the chainsaw up the ass crack. I mean, that was because you know what? I'm gonna take a stand on this. There's not enough ball trauma in horror movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Girls get fucked up all the time. It's like, come on, we need some more ball trauma. So I really like that it's like the dude. This is the famous shower scene, which I kind of feel like is the one everyone's talking about. And the girl gets fucked up too, because it's like it's a boyfriend and girlfriend, and they're like fucking in the shower, and like Art attacks him with a chainsaw, and she gets real fucked up too. But Art takes the chainsaw and, like, cuts the back of one of the dude's legs, and there's a great moment, which was the only thing that kind of made me wince a little bit, was where he tries to walk and then the leg is like squishes, and I was like, oh, that looks so nasty. And then the dude's laying down and he can't get away, obviously, and he's trying to crawl away from them. Thing, and, like, Art just takes the fucking chainsaw and just sticks it right up his fucking ass and just goes like that. And then, like, he starts cutting him in half, and then he flips him over, and then, like, he goes right into the taint, and, like, right up at the balls, and everything like that. He just cuts the dude in half, like, that way.
Yeah, they show his dick and shit.
And he, like, flapping it, and I was just like, man, that was amazing. It was so funny. It was just so funny.
Yeah,
I was just cackling like a lunatic.
They had some of those little cadaver photos they used as a fucking reference and everything, because it does look like some of the cadavers that they get bisected. Sometimes they'll show you a cutaway view of the intestinal system and fucking... Yeah, so they kind of knew anatomy. It looked pretty good. But it was obviously, to me, it was rubber. But, you know what I mean? Fucking...
Well, duh. It's obviously fake. It's just that I really admire, like, that they get it to look...
Yeah, they put a lot of work into it. It looked good. A lot better than CG.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot better. It looked cool.
I mean, CG
and it's,
always looks
the
fake.
thing is that you're supposed to be suspending your disbelief like a motherfucker through the whole thing. Because this whole thing's just over the top.
Yeah.
You don't really even feel any sympathy for the victims. Because you know it's fake. You know what I mean? And it's just too fucking over the top of what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, I kind of feel like
I could tell they were having fun.
Yeah, I will say that, like, the acting is really good in this.
Yeah.
And some of the scenes are, like, of torture and stuff like that are pretty prolonged and are kind of cruel because I'll get into it in a little bit, but, like, not even children are safe.
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand of that, you could tell everybody making this was, like, really into it. It was, like, having a good time.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about this is that this is a truly, truly independent movie. I think the second one maybe cost $250,000. This one cost $2 million. He got, like, a little bit more because Terrifier 2 was so successful. Yeah. So, but it's still, like, made many times its budget back, like, already.
Yeah, evidently some of the Hollywood studios really fucking pissed over this movie because it just beat the pants off of fucking Joker 2.
And I mean that started last week, but still,
and it's just fucking rubbing its nose. 2 clowns, each one's about a clown. Yeah. And no, they went for this one over Joker 2. But I don't want to talk too much shit about Joker 2. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And I've a couple of trustworthy sources. One of them would be Brian Hackett, who's a listener. We went to military school together. He works in Hollywood now. He said it was a masterpiece. And another guy that I trust, who's an ex-military guy who makes comic books. Name of the comic book is Iron Sights. And he said that it was an excellent movie. He said it was a masterpiece. It's just that the normies didn't like it because it wasn't kind of cookie cutter. It didn't go along the lines of a supervillain or superhero movie. It like did its own thing. But he liked it. So I did hear some things about Joker that made, when I think he dies at the end of it and shit. You know what I mean? Fucking, I think, what's her name? And it turns out he's not the real Joker that we know from the Batman. Another one takes his place, I guess. I don't think I'd have done that. I would have fucking kept Joaquin Phoenix the fucking Joker and done 3 or 4 of those damn movies. But yeah, this thing fucking being a totally independent film kind of rubbed.
And something that's unrated. They didn't even submit it.
No, it's like NC-17.
Yeah, for rating because they knew that it would. Which if you see it, you're just like, yeah, I don't think they would have cut out a lot of this. They would have cut out a lot of this. Like I said, I've seen gore. It's not the goriest thing I've ever seen, but it's pretty gory.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
It's just a fun movie. It is the kind of movie it's supposed to be. It is that.
Well, it gives you what you want. And like I said, and Xanadu made a good point. It says a slasher movie doesn't need to be a masterpiece. It just needs to not suck.
Yeah.
You said the acting was good, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think one of the things that kind of elevates this one, other than like the really good like gore effects and just how cruel and out there, and it also kind of subverts a lot of slasher expectations without being precious about it, which I kind of like. But I think that the character work in this is really good because you do actually care about the people, and like when they get fucked up, like it's kind of a bummer. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna put it like this. What was that other one that came out this year that we really liked? Fucking Midnight with the Devil?
Late Night
with the Devil. This is a very different movie from Late Night with the Devil, but they're similar in the ways that it's horror and it's kind of independent and it's like a creative effort. I liked Midnight with the Devil.
Late Night
with the Devil better. Listen.
Well, you keep saying it wrong.
Well, just let me fucking air it. Who gives a shit what that movie's name is? Fucking Late Night with the Devil, I think was more interesting. I thought that was more of a creative story. But I can't really talk shit about this one. Is creative too. It's just that it's a slightly different part of the genre.
Yeah.
So I liked Late Night with the Devil, but I think to a lot of people who like horror would probably put it on par with that, with Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, like I said, there's two completely different films.
Yeah.
Late Night with the Devil is still probably my favorite one this year. Actually, not probably.
Yeah,
It's my favorite horror movie this year that I've seen this year. With The Substance being
Some people
second.
who like slashers, though, might put that up there with that.
But yeah, like if you're super into slashers, and especially if you're into holiday slashers, because this is a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, too.
Yeah, and if you really like kind of extreme gore and stuff, you probably, like I said, it's not the goriest thing I've ever seen, but it's pretty gory. And like a lot of the gore scenes are real creative. Like we didn't even mention the stuff with like the liquid nitrogen and the hammer.
Yeah.
Like,
They're coming up with all those crazy things.
And the tube and the rats and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which actually happened to a very, very nice person. So that was kind of like, because her character was actually like a really nice person. That was kind of fucked up. And so I was watching some shit about, they said that a lot of people that went, I don't know why people like this would go see Terrifier 3, because if you saw the other ones, you know what you're in for, right? Like in the first one, like a woman gets cut in half, like down through the vagina. Come on now. Yeah. And like in the second one, the girl gets like totally cut apart in like a very, very long, excruciating scene. And it's just kind of like, so I don't know what you're expecting if you go to a movie like this, but I heard that some people were walking out in the first scene. And the first scene, I think, takes place in the present day, and then it goes back to 5 years. It kind of jumps all over the place. But the first scene is just the one with just a family, we don't know who they are, and Art gets in their house because there's that little girl is talking about, she hears somebody on the roof and she thinks it's Santa and stuff like that. And then he comes in and just annihilates this whole entire family. Yeah. Now, the kids get it, but you don't see it. Now,
they die off screen.
The little boy, you see the aftermath. Yeah. Like, because the mom goes in the room and sees the boys just like, there's pieces of him just like everywhere. So they do show the aftermath, and you presume that the little girl also got murdered, but they don't show that. Now, there is a scene in this that takes place in a mall where Art the clown goes and like replaces the mall Santa, like while he's on a break or whatever, and then all these kids come and he's just like giving them presents and everything, and then this one boy like opens this one box and it's a bomb, and like I said, you don't see it happen, but you see the aftermath. Like you see like all these little kids' limbs like everywhere. You know what I mean? So little kids absolutely do get fucked up in this, but they don't. It's not like prolonged.
So you said somebody walked out of the film. Some people walked
out. I've heard that people walked out, and I guess just because children were targeted.
Well, they didn't know what the movie was. I mean,
that's what I mean, and it's just like, well,
it must have been the first one that they've seen.
Maybe
first Terrifier movie they've seen. You know, I can't handle this, and they leave.
I mean, it's just that's just very strange to me. Yeah. Like, look, I know my ass is like super jaded because I've seen
some people get fucking
because I've seen like most of the horror movies ever made, and so stuff like this does not bother me.
What's informative to me is one time we went on a string. This is a couple years back of watching some of those real mainstream horror movies, and one of them was called La Llorona. All right, which I liked that movie in the theater. It was fucking really good. Behind us, in the center of the theater, was a Hispanic kid, probably about 16, 17, 18. In there, he was talking big shit. I heard that whole crowd of them, all Hispanic.
Yeah, they were like right behind.
They were all talking big shit. When that fucking La Llorona came, he screamed.
Yeah,
he screamed. He screamed. He lost his shit. And then he goes, "I'm just kidding." He tried to play it off, and the whole fucking audience busted up laughing. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
He totally screamed.
Then later on, he goes, "Yeah, I was scared."
Yeah.
So I'm just saying
that movie wasn't even scary.
Wasn't that scary? It's just that they got some people out there that have a very low tolerance,
I guess,
for visual stimulation with fright. And it was a part with the damn La Llorona's coming. She looks like a skeleton in a damn fucking black
cool,
wedding dress. She looked really good. She was a good looking ghost, man. And it was coming towards you, and fucking it's moving slow, and the fucking music's building up, and he screams. Fucking, it was funny.
Yeah.
And then he tried to play it off. No, I'm not scared.
Yeah.
And everybody laughed. So
man,
not everybody reacts the same way as Jen. You know,
No.
fucking a lot of people.
I wish a fucking horror movie.
A lot of people, I think, you know, a lot of boomers would have walked out of this. Your average boomer would have said, "Oh hell no," you know. A lot of people would have walked out on this.
Like I said, I kind of feel like if you saw the other ones, I don't know why anything in this would surprise you. Yes, it's an escalation, I will say that. But, you know, you knew what it was going into it. You know, I mean, the whole point of the Art the Clown character is that he enjoys cruelty. He enjoys being a serial killer and now a demonic serial killer, and he enjoys fucking people up in creative ways. He loves his work, is what I'm saying. And if you're not down with that, then you don't need to watch it. Like I said, there's even some horror fans that are like, nah, you know, that's not really for me, and that's fine. Like, because there's lots of different kind of subgenres. I like all of it. You know what I mean? I like some subgenres better than others. Like, slashers aren't my favorite. But, you know, I tend to like supernatural or psychological or haunted house type stuff. Like, if I'm going to find anything scary, it's going to be something more like that. I will say, though, that even though I don't find this movie scary, I don't find clowns scary or anything like that. But I will say that the opening scene of this, where Art is on the roof and, you know, and it's mostly just kind of noise and sound design and stuff like that. I thought that was, like, good. Not scary, but, like, suspenseful. I thought that was, like, really well done. I will note, too, that Damien Leone shot this, I think using anamorphic lenses. He wanted it to look like an old John Carpenter movie. So you can tell that it looks like older film stock. And I don't remember if Terrifier 2 looked like that, because I didn't see that in the theater. I saw that on streaming. This is actually the first Terrifier one that I got to see in the theater. The other ones I didn't. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems to me that I don't know why you would be surprised. Like, he's trying to subvert a lot of the slasher tropes, and a lot of the 80s movies and stuff like that were like kind of kids were off limits. Not all of them, obviously, and not other countries, because like the Italians instead, they did not give a fuck. They just killed everybody,
kids or animals.
Yeah, they didn't care. So, but American movies, if you saw an American horror movie, generally the kids were safe. Like, they get rescued at the last minute or something like that. Not so in this movie. But I will note that he does pull his punches somewhat, in the sense that they get killed, but it's usually off screen, or it's not prolonged. Like, the adults in this get prolonged, like, torture. Like I said, the Santa Claus in this gets fucking sprayed with liquid nitrogen, and then he breaks all his legs and hands and like frozen shit off, and he pulls his beard off his face, and like all, and then he does his face, like hammers his face and like puts a carrot in there like a snowman and shit like that. So it's like, so it's prolonged kind of shit, but that he doesn't do that to kids. I will note though that the end of this, I don't know if I want to spoil it or not, because here's the thing, I can't really discuss this without spoiling something.
Yeah, they set up a sequel.
Big time.
Big time.
Because they left it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to end like that.
No, what ends up happening is that a portal to hell gets created.
I guess it was when Victoria was... Yeah. Spoiler alert. When Victoria gets killed, she disintegrates and her blood, like, opens eats through the floor.
But it goes into another dimension. Yeah. And what's her name's little sister falls in there, and she's got to.
Well, it's her cousin.
Her cousin, yeah, he falls in there.
She falls in there, yeah.
She tries to get her, and she's gonna have to go in there and get her. That's where it ends. So it's kind of like Phantasm, where they were popping into another world, and demons were coming from another world, you know.
Yeah, I kind of
the element, and also Evil Dead kind of did that kind of stuff. They never went to the dead world, though. I don't think.
Yeah, Terrifier 4. Which they're gonna have to do now.
Yeah,
is gonna be Sienna Goes to Hell.
Yeah, and they'll make another one because this made a lot of money.
Yeah, this made more money than any of the other ones.
Yeah,
so far, and
then they'll sell all the old ones too.
Yeah, and I'm not even to mention like all the merch and stuff like that. But so they're definitely gonna make a part 4, which, like I said, they have to. And okay, for those of you that have seen it, and this is a spoiler, so I'm sorry. But I need to talk about this. And Phantom, I know you've seen it. Do you think that Jonathan is really dead? I kind of suspect not. But I don't know. I'm like of two minds about it. Because you know, here's the thing. There's a rule, an unwritten rule, in horror movies. If somebody dies off screen, they're probably not really dead. And they're going to pop out like later on, right? I mean, that's almost always what happens. So it's just kind of like the way that it was set up, I'm just kind of like, maybe he's maybe not really dead. Like, maybe he'll come back in the fourth one. Like, they just want you to think he's dead. But then on the other hand, I'm kind of like, yeah, but the whole point of the Terrifier franchise is subverting, like, slasher tropes. Like, for example, like, Art the Clown, like, uses a gun sometimes, which slashers never do. You know what I mean? It's kind of the whole... It's right there in the name, slasher. You know, you got to use a machete or a knife or an axe or some shit like that. You can't just use a gun and shoot people, but Art does. So I think that he kind of goes around, like, doing that. So I'm not really sure... if he would kill off a major character like that the way that he did it in this movie, unless there was something else going on. But I don't know. It could be either way. It could be either way. So I'm not really sure. Because I did like that character. He was in the second one, too. And I would hate to think, because he was such a main character, and I would hate to think that they just kind of did that.
Well, going into the spirit world, or into hell, that aspect right there is already letting you know that theoretically somebody might be able to be brought back from the dead.
True.
Think about it, because you're talking about breaking through dimensional doorways into other dimensions.
Yeah, I mean, once the supernatural is introduced,
that's involved, you can bring people back to life.
All bets are off.
Yeah.
Well, Sienna died at the end of 2, didn't she? And she came back to life because she's. Yeah. Well, I think they're setting her up as essentially like the angelic counterpart to the demon. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and you know, fucking Jason came back to life every fucking time. Every fucking time.
And they didn't really have any explanation. Yeah. They're just like, just cuz.
Well, he was another supernatural thing that was kind of like from hell. From the other side.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, but in a lot of ways, like, you don't want to question it too much, but, you know, because it's just like, well, it's supernatural. Just don't think about it too hard. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just...
Like I said, this wasn't written at the fucking Rhodes Scholar level. That's not what they're trying to do. They want a good entertaining movie. It was well written. It had good acting in it. Real good fucking special effects. Lots of gore and horror. But that's what this movie's for.
Yeah.
Not really my thing. But I'll tell you one thing though. Man, if I was 15, I'd have loved this fucking movie. Yeah,
I still really liked it. I thought it was.
I'd liked it even more. Yeah, but now I just kind of, to me, they're kind of samey in a way, you know. But I know the tropes. Yeah, well, I guess say in some ways they're kind of comforting, I guess.
Yeah,
because it's that same thing you're seeing basically.
Yeah, I just think they're a lot of fun. Yeah, like I said, you could just kind of there's a story there, and like I think the characterization was good and the acting is good and stuff like that, and it's just but at its heart, it's just a real gory slasher movie. And like I said, sometimes that's what you want to watch. Sometimes it's just like a good time. You know?
Out of the slasher genre, the best property is Phantasm. Phantasm has a very unique lore, and it was somebody's you know, work of love, really.
I don't even know if I'd call that a slash. That's not a slash.
Not really a slash. More like a paranormal action.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fuck.
I don't know what that is. Yeah,
it's its own genre.
It's weird. But it looks like it's trying to go down that route to open up new dimensions to the stories.
Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, I don't honestly like. I kind of like that they just give you enough lore to kind of make it make sense, but they don't over-explain it. Because, like I said, if you over-explain shit, then it's not scary
anymore. That's
not
how lore was created in the originals.
Yeah.
In the originals, those movies were sometimes the property was handed off from one director to the next. Mm-hmm. The new directors would just add something that became part of the lore.
Right.
And if they really were respectful of the other movies that came before, they would actually kind of bolster the movies that came before it by, in a way, homaging them or confirming certain things. But some things were changed, you know, like the best one, the classic of all time, Friday the 13th. Jason wasn't in the first one. And in the second one, he was in it, but he didn't have the hockey mask. And he didn't have the hockey mask in the third one. He just had a bag on his head.
No, in the second one, he had a bag on his head.
Okay,
in the third one, he gets a hockey
mask.
mask.
That's right. Third one, he had a hockey mask. That's right. Yes. That's right. I thought he didn't get the hockey mask until the fourth one, but that's right.
No, the third one.
Friday the 13th 3D. He had that hockey mask.
Yeah, that's where he found it.
So, but Jason got known for the hockey mask. But really, it was the first 2 movies that were the best ones out of the whole fucking series, really.
Other than 4, which is pretty great.
4 was okay. Yeah, I like 3. Jenny didn't like 3, but I like 3. They just started to get ridiculous, though, man. Fucking.
They did, but
they
I had to admire that they just leaned into it.
Yeah,
he goes to hell. He goes to space.
Into outer Jason in outer space.
You know what I mean? I was like, all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm down. It's fine. It was ridiculous, but that's okay. And like I said, I think the thing about
you knew it was ridiculous. You showed up.
That's what I mean.
The shit says fucking Jason Part 10 on it. You're showing up.
That's why I think like it's really dumb to get all like, well, actually, you know what I mean? It's just a silly, it's just fun. It's just have fun with it. It's like, of course it's ridiculous. They know it's ridiculous. You know it's ridiculous. Yeah. Let's all be ridiculous together. It's just fun. I don't understand why people get all butthurt.
So I don't think any of this was all pre-planned. It's just 1, 2, and 3, and they add it as they're going. At the end of 3, they're going to add a whole new dimension, which will allow them to go crazy in part 4. Yeah. Because they can go into the spirit world. Yeah. Or hell. And
I kind of suspect that that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, because she's got magical powers and and magical weapons, doesn't she? Wouldn't she have it?
Well, yeah, that was the sword that she had, like, that was forged from the... She had, like, visions of it that, like, it was like the Virgin Mary, like, with the demon on a chain. Yeah, that can only like, forging it or something.
Well, the setup, that can mean only one thing. She's got to go to hell to fucking save her sister. And fight, and probably bring people back to life. Maybe they're down in purgatory in hell.
Could be.
And she has to fucking get them out of hell. You don't know.
Now, see, okay, so Phantom's idea, the brother was always seen wearing glasses, and Art had his glasses on the skinned skull, which the uncle was there to pick the brother up. If I had to guess, I'd say he's dead, or the skull was the uncle's skull. See, that's what I was kind of thinking, is that, because they put the Uncle Greg, they put his head on the top of the Christmas tree, and I'm like, technically, the skull could not be in there. That could just be, like, the skin, right? Like, to put over the thing. And the skull that's in there, they could just be saying that's Jonathan's skull just to fuck with Sienna, right? Because that's her brother. Yeah. So, I don't know. Like, there was, like, a misdirect. I don't know if they shot this scene, and it's like there might be a director's cut later, because, like I said, it was 2 hours, the second one was, like, 2.5 hours almost. And so he might have cut some stuff out. But I think he was trying to do a misdirect... where basically all you see is Uncle Greg goes to pick Jonathan up from college, and then you just hear Jonathan's voice, except it's obviously the demon, saying, where are you at? You know what I mean? So then you later see Uncle Greg, and he's obviously dead. He's, like, crucified, and his head's been cut off and everything like that. But all they show of Jonathan, supposedly, is this skull that's had all the flesh eaten off by rats. You know what I mean? And they just tell her that that's who it is. So you don't see it happen. So I'm not really sure if they were just trying to fuck with us or... Because, like I said, he's such a major character that it would be weird, like, if they did that. But...
Well, another way...
It could go either way. I'm not really sure.
Another way they could bring back dead characters is if she goes to hell to go fight things, maybe they could come and help her. Come down from heaven and go into hell to help her fucking... So, you know what I mean? Like, imagine she's there fighting and looking, and she's fighting some demons in hell. Like all the dead people. And all of a sudden, some good people came, and helped her. And it could do some shit. They can do anything with this.
Yeah, like you said, once you introduce, like, angels, demons, stuff like that, like supernatural, you can, like, just pretty much do anything.
And that's why they did it. Yeah. We got to take this to the next level. This has got to go somewhere. It's going to go to hell. So that was a good idea.
Which, fair enough.
Now that next one could just be fucking wild.
Yeah, they can just go balls to the wall. Yeah. Can we just I can't believe it's taken this long to mention it, but can we just talk about David Howard Thornton, who is the guy that plays Art the Clown? That dude, wow, like what a great, because he doesn't talk. But his like physical, like his facial expressions and the way he moves and everything like that, he's like literally like a silent film star.
He's a physical actor.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like so good, and that's part of like what I think that's part of what makes that character so appealing to people is that yes, he does like this horrible, depraved, fucked up shit, but he's also like kind of funny. Like the whole scene,
he laughs at what he's doing.
He just thinks it's hilarious. Yeah, and I mean that one scene in there where he's overhearing like the people that get killed, the couple that gets killed with the chainsaw later, he's overhearing them talk about him. Yeah. And, like, you know, the boyfriend is saying like, "Wow, you sound like you want to fuck him," and she's like, "I don't want to fuck him," and he's just like, "What?" You know what I mean? Like the faces that he's making are like super funny.
Yeah.
I saw another thing too that said some people thought the funniest thing was just at the end when like Sienna is tied to the chair and like her aunt is over there and like everybody's dead and everything like that, and they're like. Other than like all the horrible shit that's going on, they thought it was so funny that Art, every time he walked past her, just popped like bapped her in the back of the head.
He like bitch slapped her.
And they were like, "Oh my god,
it was funny."
That was just such.
But he would
do
the reveal, you know. He'd have the mama tied down in a chair, and he'd fucking show her the head of the little boy, and she'd freak out. And while she's laughing, he's snapping, he's laughing and slapping his leg like it's a big joke, and yeah, like she's laughing.
Yeah,
you know, and then you know it's just.
And when he walks in the bar...
It's kind of creepy to see somebody who's like fucking freaking out in terror and shit. And he thinks it's funny. He just thinks it's like this is a big joke.
In a way, like it's funny, but it's also like kind of disturbing. It's weird, yeah. And I think like they hit like a really good balance. Like that scene in the bar, like of which a lot of people are talking about like being their favorite scene because it was for sure the funniest, like the one with Clint Howard and stuff. Where Art is like super excited. Like almost like he's meeting the real Santa, like he's pointing at Santa and pointing at the like fake Santa, like the you know that's on the wall or whatever. It's that's you, you know what I mean? And Santa's like playing along with it like it's a retarded kid or something like that. And it's just like so fucking funny. And then like it just gets more and more uncomfortable like as time goes on. But I also thought one thing that I thought was very funny, and I don't think anybody brought this up. But when Art takes over the Santa Claus role in the mall, all the kids are not scared of him, even though he clearly looks like a fucking scary clown with a Santa suit on. Yeah. You know what I mean? But all the kids were just like, Santa, yay! And it's like, I just thought that was hilarious. And I'm sure that was like done on purpose. Because in real life, kids would be like, no fucking way. You know what I mean? Like something like, and he had blood all over him and shit like that.
Hugo's been, he's been in there agreeing with what I said. You know, he saw him too and didn't remember him. Didn't remember the first one.
Well, I remember the second one better because we saw that one fairly recently.
But what he says he doesn't really like this property, but he's amazed over how popular it is. He thinks that's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's just the modern era's version of Friday the 13th. That's what it is. This is what Friday the 13th wanted to be. This is what they wanted it. But they couldn't do this shit back in the fucking 70s and 80s. Now, eventually they did start doing stuff kind of like this.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as graphic and as long and gruesome, the torture stuff that's in most of the older Friday the 13th movies that I remember seeing. It's just almost, some of it was kind of like comedy. But this is like I would say this is Friday the 13th. It's just done better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And instead of Michael Myers from Halloween, you got this clown who kind of adds another. But you know, Michael Myers, you just had that damn white mask, that face on it was kind of creepy. What was creepy about it, you know, it's fucking William Shatner's fucking head. A mask of William Shatner sprayed white.
And with the eye holes.
With the eye holes. What made that mask creepy is that there was no expression.
Yeah.
You just had the black holes. You couldn't even see the eyes, just black holes. This was almost kind of like a play on that, but the opposite. It's a white face that's super expressive, but it's these fucking black, nasty teeth in it. And just fucking evil clown makeup. But it's just a white clown face. And it's really expressive. So it's kind of like the opposite of Michael Myers. But it's still that same thing, though. It's that same concept. A supernatural killer that you can't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think both things can kind of work if they're done well.
Yeah.
Because I would argue that probably the creepiest thing in at least the first Halloween was that Michael Myers he didn't talk and he was just very still. Yeah. And he just seemed like a blank slate. Like you didn't really know what was going on back there. And you just got the idea that he wouldn't be able to be reasoned with. Like he was like inhuman kind of. And I feel like that really works because that's creepy. But it's also kind of creepy seeing somebody like Art the Clown who like I said is like the opposite, who is like super animated.
Yeah.
But in a really fucked up way where he just looks like he's having the time of his life, like doing horrible fucked up shit to people.
Yeah. If he wasn't killing everybody and he was doing shit that actually was funny, you'd think he was friendly.
Yeah.
It's what he's doing.
And his eyes are freaky too. I didn't even realize like when I first saw the first couple movies, but in this one you can tell he's got the contacts with like just the pupils are small and like the whites around them.
I understand his success. I think it hit it right on the nail. It hit the nail on the head. Actually, it got it right in all three of the movies from what I remember. Every one of the first, like I said, I don't remember the first one or the second one, but I remember enjoying them.
Yeah.
So nothing stood out as bad. It's just not my kind of horror movie, really. Not anymore. But if I was 15 to 25, I probably would fucking love this shit. Yeah. But I just started. My tastes changed as I got older. I could watch it and see it and enjoy it, but it's not something I would like seek out.
Right.
I'm not the market, I guess.
I do. I do kind of feel like the audience for this probably skews younger.
Younger and fucking horror fans, real horror fanatics.
Well, you have to be. Like, this is not...
Yeah. It's a slasher movie.
This is not something that, like, I feel like just casual, like, oh, I kind of like horror movies. Yeah, this is probably not the movie that you're going to want to watch.
This is a straight-up slasher movie. It's made for people who like slasher movies and know slasher movies and have seen a lot of slasher movies, including the old Giallo Italian movies, because they use a lot of the same gags.
Yeah.
You know? I think it's... Or homaging shit that probably something came out of a fucking Italian horror movie from the 70s. You know, because they showed some shit too, but
they did, yeah.
They couldn't play those movies uncut in the U.S. Some of them I don't think ever made it here.
Yeah, it's getting better now because I think there's a larger fan base for it. But
I remember talking about back in the day.
Yeah, back in the 70s,
you'd never see those in the U.S.
They would even like recut Dario Argento movies and like title them something else.
Yeah,
like Tenebrae, they released it over here as Unsane, I think, and like they cut a bunch of shit out.
I remember when I was a kid in the early 80s, a legendary movie that every dude I knew wanted to see it, but we couldn't see it, Zombie. And we wanted to see
Lucio Fulci one?
Yeah, we wanted to see it just because of that poster of that fucking rotten zombie with the maggots coming out of his face.
That's still great makeup. I love that.
Yeah, and we only saw the posters for it. And it would be like mentioned in horror magazines like Fangoria and shit. But we never could find it. It never appeared on any of the video rental places.
Yeah, I got it later, but I had to buy it.
I think we imagined it being more than what it was. I think because Jen showed it to me, it was boring. It got better later on.
A lot of it is just kind of setup and stuff like that. Like the real gory shit doesn't happen until later on. Like it takes a while to get going. I will admit that. I mean, it's a good movie, but it's not my favorite Fulci movie though. That would either probably be The Beyond or The Psychic.
I was happy back then with just shit like Peter Cushing and Shockwaves and shit. Florida Nazi
I'll watch anything Peter Cushing is in.
Florida Nazi zombies.
Yeah.
Aquatic Nazi zombies. Well, they weren't really aquatic. They could live on it. They just happened to be in a ship that sunk. Yeah.
CB said, the only thing I don't like to see in horror movies is women getting gutted by the killer. Well, there's some of that in here, too.
There's all kinds of shit.
Actually, the woman in the shower, the girl in the shower, who was kind of like the only annoying character. But, she got, like, the chainsaw through the titties, right? Like, just right through her tits like that. But she got fucked up. And her face kind of pulled off, also. He's big on pulling faces off. I mean, everybody in this, if he kills them, it takes a while. You know what I mean? And he cuts pieces off, and it's just... It's a lot. You know what I mean? Phantom says, I only watched Terrifier 1 and 2 once, so I totally forgot a lot that happened in the films. Yeah, I've only seen those two. It's
not just me.
I saw All Hallows Eve twice, because that's a Halloween movie, so I watched that on Halloween a couple of years in a row. But that's not, technically it's not an Art the Clown movie. It's not like about him, but he's like in the wraparound.
I think because of my age, movies like this, I can watch them and enjoy them, but they don't make a big impression on me, so I don't really remember. But I think because at the time that I'm watching it, it was like, I've seen this kind of stuff before.
Yeah.
I've seen this scene before. But, I remember, I know where they did this. You know, I know what's going to happen. So it's like in one ear and out the other. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying it, but as soon as it's over, I'll quickly forget everything. So, so I guess they're rewatchable, aren't they? Well, actually, I would probably remember what was going to happen if I were to get back in there and watch 1 and 2. I probably would go, I remember this. I know what's going to happen next. Yeah, I probably would. But when you're older, it doesn't make a very big impression on you. So you forget it quickly. Got to be something real special for me to remember everything that happened in it. It's not just this movie, you know what I mean, or this type of movie. any Marvel movie, I almost instantly forget.
Well, I do too.
After I saw it, I was just like, what happened? Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm not a big tentpole movie person. Like, I watch them and I enjoy them at the time, but I don't really remember much about them. And I don't, like, follow them real close, so... you know.
I kind of remembered what happened in Venom 1 and 2 because it had Tom Hardy. And the third one's coming out. I liked Venom 1 and 2.
Yeah, The Last Dance. We just saw the...
Although I don't remember everything that happened in those either, but I remember more.
We probably have to rewatch them because I don't... I mean, I watch so many movies and read so many books that it's like sometimes if it's been like several months or a year or something since I've seen, I probably need to watch it again before I watch the. Because honestly, we just watched Terrifier 2. I think we reviewed it, but I don't remember when maybe it was last year, and I had totally forgotten about the magic sword thing.
Yeah.
Until like they I was like, oh, that's right, the Valkyrie thing with the sword. Okay, like then I remembered it then. I remembered it when they brought it back up. Like, I remembered her, and I remembered the brother. Like, you know what I mean? So I remembered that. And I remembered Victoria. But, you know, a lot of it, I was just kind of like, I had forgotten, like, all the details of all the demon stuff.
Yeah, she basically had a magic sword.
Yeah.
It could kill demons. I don't know if it was permanent. Probably not.
Well...
Because they came back.
That's another thing, is the sword is also in hell.
Yeah, it's right. It's in hell. It fell in there.
So she's going to have to go get that back, too, because you can't kill... Because Art lives. At the end of this, he gets away.
Yeah.
So, you know, so they were, for real, like, setting up a fourth one, which is fine. I mean, like I said, it's not a surprise at all, because...
As long as they take their time with it. Don't rush it.
And I kind of, like I said, I kind of like that this is a very homegrown franchise. It's one dude. This is his... He written and directed by this one guy.
Probably why it reminds me of Phantasm so much, because Phantasm was that. It's just one dude.
Yeah.
Writing those.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's like a work of love.
Yeah. I mean, there's other people on the team, obviously, because it's a big team, but it's just like his vision.
It's his vision and he's running it, yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like that usually helps, because there's not
in
too
horror
much
that helps a lot.
Yeah, it definitely does. And you can tell when somebody is making something that's really into the shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's why I tend to like... Horror movies should be made by horror people that are really into horror. Like, actors... anything. Like, I don't really like... And you don't see as much of this anymore because horror is not as shit on as a genre as it used to be. But it used to be, oh, I'll be in, like, a shitty horror movie, like, to jumpstart my career, like, and then I'll be in real movies. But now you're seeing actors that actually really like horror movies and actually like being in horror movies, and it makes a huge difference. You know what I mean? That they're really into it, and they don't see that as, like, not being like a real movie, because I kind of feel like that was a thing, like in the 80s and maybe even in the 90s, because a lot of big actors like got their starts in horror movies, like Johnny Depp, like he started in fucking Nightmare on Elm Street, and Jennifer Aniston was in one of his Leprechaun movies, and Matthew McConaughey was in one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. And...
Phantom is telling Xanadu about shockwaves. Shockwaves, 1978 or 77. 78, I think, right? Yes.
I think it was, yeah.
He didn't know about it. He goes, yeah, you'd like Shockwaves. That's a good one. Peter Cushing's in it.
Yeah, we reviewed it a while back.
And then they have that brunette chick who was fucking hot back in the 70s who ended up in a bunch of other movies. She's in it. And I think she makes it... I think she survived.
She was in the Dead Zone.
Dead Zone, that's right. She played Johnny's girlfriend who was the teacher.
Yeah. She was in the Dead Zone, and she was in the... 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, that's right.
The Philip Kaufman one.
Yeah, she's in there.
She was in that too.
You get some bikini action in there, and it's a Florida movie.
I just liked her.
They're supposed to be on an island.
Brooke Adams. That's
Brooke Adams. Yeah, they're supposed to be on an island that has an old Spanish mission on it. You know, an abandoned Spanish mission. They get shipwrecked on it. There's a Nazi U-boat commander. I think if I remember correctly, it was a U-boat commander on there. Guarding the island. It turns out from Nazi zombies that live out in the water. He scuttled them out there. And he was, anyway, Peter Cushing does a great job as this Nazi in the movie. And it's, the thing is, though, is that it's not an island. That's Florida. Wasn't it Tampa?
I don't remember where they shot
it. It's actually a hotel. They shot it at a hotel. It looks like a Spanish.
I think it was out in South Florida somewhere.
Yeah, and that hotel is still around. And I think somebody owns it. I think it is. I think it may be a hotel still. I remember looking it up, and I think it got renovated. But it was abandoned at the time when they filmed it. You know, it had changed hands. But it was an old hotel, a resort hotel, from the early 1900s. But it is a good movie, and you can see that free on YouTube.
Phantom says Sienna definitely needed to hide her diary a lot better. Yeah, I mean, the fact that, but I think it was important that they established Gabby, the little cousin, as being like super nosy. Like they were always teasing her about, oh, she unwraps all the Christmas presents. I had a cousin that did that too, by the way, that unwrapped all the Christmas presents to see what they were and then wrapped them back up. Like before, I was like, why would you do that? It just ruins it.
They can't handle.
They just can't handle it. So they set that up. Of her unwrapping all the Christmas presents and stuff, and that ends up like factoring into the plot. And it's important too that even though Sienna told her don't you dare read my journal, she did it anyway. But the fact that she did that ended up kind of saving Sienna's ass a little bit, because she knew a lot of shit that she wouldn't have known if she hadn't read that. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that was good that they kind of established that. And honestly, like I really liked the relationship between the two of them. I think that was like a really good that was kind of like the emotional like core of the movie, I guess, because like I said, this does actually have characters that you give a shit about, unlike most slasher movies, whereas most of the people are just annoying and just like, oh my god, just like kill them already, you know what I mean? But then it's kind of, on the other hand, you do want to kind of see people get fucked up, because that's kind of the movie that you're watching, so it's kind of having all these conflicting emotions. You know? Red Fasal says, saw Terrifier 3 yesterday, shit was fun as hell. Yeah, I thought so too.
That's all it is. It's a fun movie.
It's just fun, and like there's a lot of super gory. Like I kind of feel like we saw it like Sunday afternoon. It was like 4 o'clock or something, and so it wasn't full. There was like a handful of other people in there, and I feel like me and the dude behind me were like laughing our asses off. Yeah. Like at everything.
It's a good theater watch, because especially if you don't want to do a whole lot of thinking, you just watch it and let it play out. Yeah. You don't have to follow anything. It's very effortless. You know, it's kind of like a ride at Disneyland. Yeah. You just kind of go on the ride. You go, okay, and you can just look at the damn special effects.
They'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
They're like, "Fuck yeah!" Cut that dude in half. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, chainsaw up the ass gag, that was easily my favorite.
Yeah, and it's not supposed to be hilarious, but it still kind of ends up being hilarious because of the tone.
I find it hilarious. Yeah. Maybe there's something wrong with me, I suppose, but I was just kind of like, fuck.
Well, it's over the top. You got a clown that's making a joke out of it all, and the person's like screaming and shit, and fucking then the audience is watching it, and you hear the audience with you reacting to it. Yeah. And it's just a horror show. They're just they're putting on a good show.
It's not real.
No, it's not real.
Like I said, I don't want to watch real videos of somebody having that done to them. That would be horrible.
I've seen them. You don't want to see them.
That's what I mean. I don't want to see. I've seen some videos shit like that too. I don't want to see that. I can't unwatch that. But it's just like, it's a horror movie. It's fake. They're fine. The actors are all fine. You know what I mean? It's just fun. That's all it is. So I don't know why anyone would get. I'm not saying that everybody got to watch it. I'm just saying it's like, I don't see why anybody.
If you're a horror slasher fan, you should get on it.
I mean, yeah, you definitely should. And like I said, it's not the goriest thing I've ever seen, but it's pretty gory. And it does have like some pretty fun. A lot of the kills were like really creative. I found them like a lot more creative than the second one. Because the only kill I remember from the second one is that iconic one. Like that girl getting like just totally annihilated and cut up and stuff. But this one had a lot more variety. Like, you know, it's the introduction of the liquid nitrogen and all the different weapons and all that other kind of stuff. So, and the thing with the tube and the rats and all that. So, you know what I mean. It was just fun how they just kept topping and then the bomb like blowing all the kids up and shit like that. Which I kind of laughed at that too. I know I'm a bad person, but you know. Yeah, and Phantom said it homages Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yeah, and there's definitely like homages to other films, especially like other Christmas horror films, you know. Let's see. Yeah, Red said, yeah, nah, I'm with you. I was fully cracking up. I feel like a lot of it has to do with Art's performance. There's some really clever physical comedy stuff that he does. Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think that's why he's become such an iconic character in a relatively short time, really. He's just like right up there in the pantheon. Yeah. And I think that's why you don't really see... We haven't really seen anything like that. Like I said, he's a sadistic killer, but he's also kind of like a silent movie. He's like almost like a Charlie Chaplin kind of vibe.
Well, it's the opposite of Michael Myers. Yeah. And the opposite of fucking Jason. Those were faceless villains, which we wrote a book called Faceless. She wrote, they were faceless villains that they didn't really show any emotion or any humanity, no human qualities to them. Masks. So it's just kind of a dreadnought, you know, a tank-like monster.
Yeah, it's just like an
You can't stop
onslaught
it.
of
You can't stop it, and you can't kill it. It comes back to life.
Well, you can't stop art.
This is the opposite.
Yeah.
You can't stop this. You can't kill it. It'll come back to life. But it's trying to be hilarious, and it thinks killing things is real hilarious, and it's got a lot of expressions, a lot of facial expressions, and you know.
Like I said, that actor that plays Art the Clown is just like is really good. Like he's really good.
Yeah.
A really good physical comedian. Just his facial expressions are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Like in the shit that he does in this. That's what makes it funny. And I think, like I said, I think that's what a lot of people are responding to. Is like a lot of the black humor that's in it. Yeah, he does like really fucked up shit, but I don't know. It's still kind of funny in a fucked up way. You know, sue me.
Yep.
You know. All right, so are we ready to wrap it up?
You go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, so
I'm ready to shut it down, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry again, honestly.
I got food down there.
Okay, but yeah, so thank you everybody for dropping by this evening. Be sure to come by on Wednesday night for our regular show. We're gonna do what the hell won in the polls? I don't even remember. Holy crap. Oh no, I remember. It's Walpurgis night. We're gonna do talking about that. Well, Walpurgis. I don't know how to pronounce it. But yeah, that's what we're gonna do. A history of that. That's what won in the poll. So that's what we're gonna be talking about on Wednesday night. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. Should be fun. But yeah, we'll see you guys again on Wednesday. Good night.